Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for being there. It's a great pleasure to be recording this video for you. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also share them with friends and family. This is the best support that you can give me. Well, today we're going to speak about the fantastic synergy that exists between body and mind. This is a topic that really fascinates me. And today we're focusing specifically on nonverbal communication. So, nonverbal communication. Well, you probably know this, but in fact, when we meet someone for the first time, during the first few seconds, we are already making a judgment about whether we like or dislike that person. This judgment is based mostly on the nonverbal communication of that person, so his or her body language. This is a fact. The question that was posed during a study that was conducted a few years ago was whether the body language, our own body language, also affected the way we felt about ourselves, because it certainly affects the way we judge others. So does it also affect the way we think about ourselves? This was a question posed by a study that was conducted in 2012 by two researchers, two social psychologists called Amy Cuddy and Dana Carney. Well, the name Amy Cuddy may sound familiar to some of you, if not to all of you, because Amy Cuddy delivered a TED Talk in 2012 that became viral. It has so far about 48 million views. I myself have watched it, I think, about 5 or 6 times, and I still find it really interesting and even moving. Well, but I will speak about the study first, and then I will tell you why I find it so fascinatingly moving. Okay, so first the study. Dana Carney and Amy Cuddy chose a situation that for most of us would mean a really high level of anxiety, and this is a job interview, and they gathered a group of volunteers. So they split the group of volunteers into two different groups. For the first groups, they showed pictures of people standing or sitting in positions that are considered powerful, and they told these people that they should stand or sit in these positions for a few minutes before going into the interview. These positions would be things like, standing with your arms stretched like this or just laying back. But attention, these people were never told that these were powerful positions. They were just told that they should sit or stand like that for a few minutes before going into the interview. Well, for the second group, they also showed pictures of people standing in powerless positions. And powerless positions would be positions like this, people curling around themselves. But again, these people were never told that these were powerless positions. They were only told that they should stand or sit in these positions for a few minutes before going into the interview. And so in order to test just how powerful these people felt before and after the posing, Dana Carney and Amy Cuddy decided to check the levels of two different hormones in the bodies of the volunteers. And these two different hormones were testosterone. And why testosterone? Because testosterone is considered to be the power hormone, is present in high levels in people who are in powerful positions or in powerful situations. And then the second hormone was cortisol. And why? Well, cortisol is a stress-related hormone. So its level in our bodies increases when we're in stressful situations. So these were the two hormones that they decided to test before and after the posing. So what the two researchers found out when they measured the levels of cortisol and testosterone was that for the first group who had been power posing, the level of testosterone had significantly increased after the posing, and the level of cortisol had significantly decreased. Whereas with the second group that had been standing in powerless positions, the level of testosterone had significantly decreased and the level of cortisol had significantly increased. So there seemed to be a relation between the way people were standing or sitting, whether in powerful positions or in powerless positions, and the way they felt about themselves, how powerful they felt. Amy Cuddy shared the results of the study during that TED Talk in 2012. She advised people to stand in powerful positions, do what she calls power posing for a few minutes before going into an important job interview or speaking in public, for instance. And this would already make the talk very, very interesting. But there was a final part that I found moving, and I will tell you about it in a moment. She looked at her audience and she said, well, maybe some of you are thinking, this feels fake. This is really not me. And I really understand what you mean by that because I felt like that before myself. And she mentioned something called the imposter syndrome. I had never heard of that before. And the imposter syndrome is just something that you feel when you're in a group or in a situation where you think that everybody else is much more gifted than you, and you're just afraid of being found out. So you think that eventually someone will find out about that and will kick you out. And this really resonated in me because I had felt like that before, and I didn't even know that existed. I had never heard about the imposter syndrome. It turns out that I had never heard about the imposter syndrome simply because people hide it. They are afraid of being discovered, so they don't speak about this. But of course, with this TED Talk being so acclaimed, after this, Amy Cuddy started receiving emails and letters from people who had identified with this imposter syndrome and who had felt the same. And all of a sudden, there was this enormous group of people that were asking for help. And so in 2015, Amy Cuddy published her first book. It's called Presence. I have here the Portuguese version of the book, where she speaks about her investigation with Dana Carney and also about the syndrome and tries to help people overcome it. I think her book is fantastic. I would advise everybody to read it, but I will leave you with a sentence that Amy Cuddy mentions at the end of her TED Talk. She says, "Tiny tweaks lead to big changes." I really believe in this, and actually she's mentioning, for instance, if you don't feel at ease while speaking in public, this won't come all of a sudden. You won't suddenly become very much at ease. You have to practice, practice, practice. Even if you're terrified, you have to fake it until you become it. It's something that really happens very slowly, and this is why she mentions tiny tweaks. Actually, I believe that these very, very small changes that, become incremental and actually lead to big changes in your life, these are the ones that are sustainable. So instead of trying to change your life in one day, just feel very happy and satisfied if you're able to implement a very small change every day. And with time, the changes will be enormous. So stay with that. Thank you so much for being there, and I will be back very soon with another video. Bye-bye.